because in my next video, I will talk about why you should never ever have a boob job. Yes, I did have a boob job. I know this might come as a shock because my whole page used to be about loving my flat chest and being confident with it. I don't plan on opening an OnlyFans anytime in the future, and I like to keep it that way. A lot of people ask me, Clara, why did you start an OF?
Crazy that I used to think of you as my older sister. I'm so disappointed. I used to think of you as a role model. These are just some of the many comments that fans are leaving someone they once looked up to. Clara Dao went from being the internet's sweetheart, a body positivity champion people genuinely looked up to getting cancelled twice in a single year, and now being labeled one of the biggest hypocrites on TikTok. And with her latest move, she may have sealed that reputation for good, because once you factor in the boob job, the fake BBL controversy, and her shift into adult content, it's clear that Clara Dao is done. However, according to her, none of this is a downfall. She says she's just being a rebel. But she didn't have this attitude before the fame. You see, Clara Dao was born on August 29, 1998, in Hanoi, Vietnam. And from an early age, she knew that she didn't want to spend her life in Vietnam. She wanted to explore the world. But most importantly, she wanted to get away from her culture's expectations of her and, according to her, the constant body shaming. You see, for most of her life, Clara Dao was naturally very slim. She always had a flat chest and a lean frame. I'm 5'6", but my weight is only 95 pounds. My body measurement is 29, 23, 34, and that put me right under size 000 category. As you can see, I'm naturally very thin. I don't have curves and I have a flat chest. I'm 21 years old. I'm 5'6", and my weight is 95 pounds. My weight haven't changed in the past 5 or 7 years. And I know I'm Asian, but I'm still considered as really skinny, even for Asian standard. Throughout her teenage years and early adulthood, her body became a source of quiet insecurity, and the never-ending comments from family members and strangers only made the insecurity worse. I used to hate being skinny. I used to look in the mirror and see plenty of things that didn't fit into the physical ideal that I had in my mind. I have no curves, no boobs, and plenty of stretch marks here and there. My skin was not the smoothest. My nose is flat and round, and there were just so many other things that I was just insecure about. I told myself that if only these things were fixed, I would be happy. People around me, my friends, my family, my relatives, strangers, acquaintances, the first thing they say when they look at me is, "How come are you so skinny? Are you on drugs? Are you anorexic? You need to gain weight." Even in Canada, the place she thought would finally give her freedom to just exist without being judged, nothing really changed. The comments didn't stop. If anything, they just took a different form. Strangers laughed, others made uncomfortable remarks, asked invasive questions, and reminded her that no matter where she went, she could never fully escape being skinny shamed. Around 2 months ago, I was at a mall, and I walked past this group of teenagers, and a girl in the group looked at me from head to toe and like saying out loud to the group that, "Look at how slim that girl is." And the whole group laughed while I was just walking by them. Like, I could hear every single thing. The second incident is when I was getting out of the elevator. A man that was nearby, he looked at me and he was like, "You look so skinny. How much do you weigh?" What? Like, since when asking for someone's weight is appropriate? Her frustrations only grew, and she needed a place to vent her frustrations, a place to share her experiences, so she turned to her YouTube channel. Hello everyone! Your girl Clara is here! I finally decided to have a YouTube channel! Clara created her YouTube channel back in 2016, but it wasn't until 2019 that she posted her first real video titled "Do What You Love." At the time, it felt sincere, like a genuine attempt to inspire. But looking back, it raises a quieter question. Was this real confidence, or was she trying to convince herself and her audience that she was truly comfortable in her own skin? Because from the very beginning, her message was clear. She wanted to spread positivity, be open about her struggles, and inspire people to feel comfortable in their own skin.
So I hope that when you come to my channel, you can receive this rush of energy, of positivity, of abundance, of love, and good vibes, and everything that is juicy and delicious and just beautiful.
But years later, her actions began to contradict the very message she built her platform on, and her audience saw it immediately. They didn't stay quiet about it either. To her credit, in the beginning, she really did live what she preached. Her content had a clear tone, soft, positive, and genuinely warm, like she was creating the kind of safe space she never had growing up.
I believe that 2019 is a year, it's all year. It's a year that we just don't give a fuck about what other people think and just go for our dreams.
One thing stood out. She focused heavily on body positivity, especially the struggles that came with being naturally skinny. The shame, the self-doubt, the fear, the quiet insecurities that a lot of women like her were dealing with but rarely talked about openly.
I didn't dare to wear clothes that are revealing or provocative because I thought that I'm not sexy enough. As a skinny woman, I found it so difficult to feel sexy and feminine for years. I found most of the clothes I tried on while shopping was too loose in certain area, especially around the chest or the butt. I also realized that I subconsciously compare myself to a lot of friends, family, and famous people and influencers.
And it worked. The internet responded in the best way possible. Her message reached girls who had never seen their body type celebrated before. Thank you for the inspiration. You are helping me through such a difficult journey with myself. Everything you said resonates so strong with me. For many skinny girls, Clara's content felt like a breath of fresh air. It resonated deeply. Finally, there was someone speaking about body positivity from their perspective, someone who had actually lived through the same insecurities and knew what skinny shaming felt like. In a time where the conversation was dominated by curves, skinny girls were a niche that had been largely overlooked, and Clara stepped right into that gap. Thank you for helping me, because I am skinny. I'm only 9 years old, getting shamed by my own classmate. Thank you for this. I usually wear 2 pairs of leggings under my jeans because people always say my legs are too skinny. Comment after comment, girls showed how deeply they related to her content, thanking her for finally giving a voice to something they had been dealing with quietly for years.
Stop it. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people just assume that there's something wrong with me, assume that being skinny is wrong. Like, no, it's not. I'm healthy and I don't need to hear your opinions on how I look. Thank you.
It's no surprise that in June of 2019, her channel blew up. One of the breakout moments came when she posted a video titled "Being Skinny: How to Love Your Thin Body," which was aimed at girls with a flat chest. In that video, she was completely unapologetic about her own body, even jokingly comparing her chest to a flat screen TV.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Clara and today let's talk about boobs. I'm flat-chested and as you can see, if you picture my chest like a LCD TV screen or an ironing board, that's basically how my chest looks like.
She talked about her insecurities, how she overcame them, and encouraged girls to embrace their flat chests.
So my boobs haven't grown in size since I was 10, and I remember that's also exactly the time when I first felt insecure about my breast. When I saw all my girlfriends starting to have boobs, I started to wonder what was wrong with my body. Why didn't my boobs grow at all? And did I do anything wrong that affect the growth of my breast? And that insecurity lasted for almost 10 years, since I was 10 till right before I turned 20. Now I'm totally comfortable and confident with how I look. I love wearing tops like this, or bralettes, tank top, V-neck shirt, you name it. It's interesting that once you learn to love something that you used to feel so insecure about, you just want to show it off more and more.
The numbers followed the message: 4 million subscribers on YouTube, 600,000 on Instagram, and all on accounts that she had opened just a few years prior. Clara Dao was the self-confidence blueprint. She was the safe space. She was the creator girls turned to when the world made them feel like their body wasn't good enough. From a willingness to be vulnerable, Clara built one of the most loyal and emotionally invested audiences in the body positivity space. These weren't passive followers. These were girls who had grown up watching her, girls who had gone through puberty alongside her content. But over time, some sections of the internet started to turn on her. The first criticism was subtle, but persistent. Her content began to feel repetitive. The same message, the same angles, the same framing, over and over again. I mean, 900 videos on the same topic could easily get stale quick.
I built this entire platform based on one mission, such as confidence. I made over 900 videos on the topic.
What once felt authentic started to feel more like it was being stretched, almost like she was milking the very thing that made her stand out in the first place. Milking content and money in the name of body positivity? To be honest, it does give hope to the ones actually suffering from it, but now it's excessive, repetitive content. I used to like her, but now it's all, OMG, I don't have any boobs and ass, but I love myself. Literally, it's all that. And then came a more uncomfortable conversation, because while Clara positioned herself as an underdog, a voice for those who felt overlooked, many people began pointing out that she still fit within conventional beauty standards. You see, she had a model-like appearance, and for some viewers, that made the message harder to fully connect with. Just a random rant about an underweight body positivity TikToker who constantly posts body checking videos. All her videos are centered around how she apparently doesn't fit the beauty standard just because she has a flat chest. The only reason she has a flat chest is because she's underweight, and she is very pretty and has a well-proportioned body. So basically she fits the beauty standards, and she knows damn well that she does. She looks like a model. I know exactly who you're talking about, and I don't know who sis thinks she is fooling with this body positivity stuff. Anyone with eyes knows there is nothing that society would find repulsive about her body. And she isn't even trying to mix it up. How many times do you think she said the word flat-chested in the past 2 years? 1,000? 1,000,000? How long could she keep this up? Hey Clara, all aboard the Bullshit Express. Let me tell you guys about how hard it is to look like a gorgeous model who has the legs you nearly died to get and still didn't. The reality is, there are women who exist much further outside those standards. Women who are treated far more harshly, who face a level of criticism and ridicule that Clara never quite experienced. And that tension between the message and the messenger is where that first real wave of criticism began to grow. Despite the criticism, Clara Dao had something genuinely rare in the influencer world: trust. The kind you build over years of showing up consistently, saying the same thing, meaning the same thing, being the same person. Which is exactly why what came next hit so much harder than a regular controversy would have. In September 2024, she dropped a video titled "The Surprising Habits That Make Me Skinny." And for a lot of longtime viewers, that title alone felt off. It didn't line up with the story they thought they understood about Clara's life. You see, for years, a core part of her identity online wasn't just her body. It was the idea that her body was completely natural, something she couldn't control. And over time, she framed it not as something to fix, but something to embrace and even love.
My boobs are mine, they belong to me, and God created me with this body that's uniquely mine and perfect for me. And my job is to just love my body as much as possible, all parts of it, breasts included.
She spoke openly about being skinny shamed, about being told to eat more, about never being able to gain weight no matter what she did. It wasn't framed as a result of effort. It was framed as something she simply lived with.
I'm a naturally skinny person. I have never gained weight since my adult life. I've never have to worry about my weight. I've never have to worry about what I eat.
So when she suddenly presented a list of habits she actively follows to maintain her weight, not accidental behaviors but deliberate, consistent choices, it created an immediate disconnect. And just that contradiction alone was enough to make people start asking questions. And then people actually watched the video, and that's when the concern really set in, because the habits she described weren't just contradictory to her previous message, they were genuinely alarming. She talked about going the entire day without eating, sometimes until 7 p.m., simply because she forgot. She says she only eats when she feels her stomach growling, not just a little hungry, but truly starving. And after what she considered overeating, which she describes as around 2,500 calories, a perfectly normal amount of food for a functional adult human body, she would intentionally eat as little as possible the next day to compensate.
So the first habit is I don't eat when I'm not hungry, and I only eat when I'm like really hungry. I often don't remember to eat unless I really feel it in my stomach. I'm like, oh my god, I'm hungry. And then I realized that, oh, it's like 7 p.m. and I haven't eaten anything all day. So I never finish my food whenever I go out. Like there's always some food left. I don't like the feeling of being stuffed. Like of course there are times, like I'm not gonna say that I never like stuff myself. I never like eat to the point that I'm so full. Like of course there are times that I have, but after that, like intuitively my body just kind of know and not eat so much the day after. And so I guess it's kind of balanced out. Like if one day I consume like 2,500 calories or 3,000, if I'm like really stuffing myself, the next day I just like don't think about food at all. I would still feel full from yesterday, and I probably will only have like 500, 600 calories or something like that.
And that's where things took a turn, because this wasn't just lifestyle advice anymore. This started to sound a lot like disordered eating patterns, framed casually and presented to an audience that had trusted her for years. The only way you would not be able to gain weight is if you have some sort of medical condition that kills your appetite. If you're consciously talking about the choices that you make to remain skinny, then that's obviously not the case at all. You're just pro-ANA, read one reaction. I used to have an eating disorder, so her video 13 surprising habits that keep me skinny were triggering as fuck for me, read another comment. The backlash was immediate, and it was overwhelming. The video racked up over 35,000 dislikes, and the comment section quickly filled with concern. A lot of it coming from young women who weren't just confused, they were genuinely alarmed by what they were hearing. Critics pointed out something that was hard to ignore. Her audience was predominantly young, largely made up of impressionable viewers who were far more likely to take her words seriously. And telling that audience to only eat when their stomach is really growling isn't wellness advice. It starts to edge into something far more dangerous. Yikes, some comments were saying their little sisters or cousins skipped breakfast or were restricted after watching her videos. So sad to see the same BS diet culture come back around from when I was young, and from a body positivity creator that's making money of all that. Just a shame. I saw the YouTube video I assume started all of this and hadn't realized how genuinely dangerous her content is. Making a video about habits that keep her skinny while her content is about accepting her very skinny body she's alluding to being insecure about, and promoting it as advice almost, while her fan base are very young and the advice is shit. Like, I forgot to eat until like 7 is straight up nefarious. And this is where everything really started to fall apart, because instead of meeting the criticism with even a bit of humility or taking the video down and acknowledging that maybe the messaging had been harmful, Clara did the opposite. She turned the comments off, and then she disappeared for weeks while the backlash kept building on its own. So when she finally responded months later, people expected some level of reflection, some kind of understanding, but that's not what they got. Instead, they got videos like this one.
You're a drug dealer.
No, what? How?
And these responses didn't calm anything down. They did the exact opposite. Because now it wasn't just about the video anymore, it was about how she handled it. The tone felt dismissive, almost like she was mocking the very people who had supported her for years. And just like that, the trust she had spent years building took a serious hit. But that wasn't the end of it, because what came next would hit even harder. By early 2025, Clara was in a strange kind of limbo. The backlash from the Skinny Habits video hadn't disappeared, it had just settled beneath the surface. Her audience hadn't moved on, they were watching more closely now, questioning more, waiting. And then on April 1st, 2025, everything shifted again. Clara posted a video, and she looked different, noticeably different. There was no build-up, no explanation, just a caption. I had a boob job. At first, people didn't know what to make of it. It was April Fool's Day, so naturally, the internet assumed it was a joke. Maybe a stunt, a bodysuit, or maybe some kind of a response to the criticism she'd been getting. People tried to rationalize it. But as these days went on, she kept posting, looking the same, saying nothing. It became harder to dismiss. This wasn't a joke, it wasn't temporary, it was real. And that's when the weight of it all hit. Because Clara Dao had built her entire identity around being the flat-chested body positivity girl. Hundreds of videos, years of messaging, telling young women they didn't need to change themselves to be worthy, to be confident, to be beautiful.
In my next video, I will talk about why you should never ever have a boob job. Why it's so destructive to your body, and what are the better alternatives.
I love my breasts, I love my boobs, I love my chest so much, and I would never treat them for anything, or I would never go under the knife to make them look bigger or better, because I'm happy with what I have. My boobs are mine, they belong to me, and God created me with this body that's uniquely mine and perfect for me. And my job is to just love my body as much as possible, all parts of it, breasts included. And if you think about it, having plastic surgeries is like a quick fix to solve a deeper problem, which is unhealthy self-esteem and self-worth. Instead, doing the inner work is hard. Facing your fear and insecurities head on takes courage and compassion to come to terms with whatever you're insecure about.
And now, without explanation, she had done exactly that. The backlash was immediate, with fans calling out the hypocrisy. I didn't like how she succumbed to the societal pressure that big boobs equal better. By getting surgery, she just reinforced the idea that small chests are unattractive. And for someone who preached positivity about her flat chest, it feels wrong. If she were really as happy about her flat chest as she had been posting about, she never would have done it. Her whole thing was trying to make girls with flat chests feel confident. It seems like it was all for nothing, and she never really believed what she was saying. I think she did it to gain confidence, but it was in spite of her having a flat chest. She never actually came to love having a flat chest. And then came her explanation. Clara eventually sat down and addressed it directly, finally giving her audience the answer they'd been waiting for. Why did she do it? According to her, it came down to one word: fun. Not pressure, insecurity, or years of internal conflict. Just fun.
Yes, I did have a boob job. I know this might come as a shock because my whole page used to be about loving my flat chest and being confident with it. I literally built my entire career and following around that. So why did I do it? Am I crazy? Was everything a lie? Was I secretly insecure this whole time and just use body positivity as a way to make money so I could finally afford a boob job? No, let me tell you the real reason why I did it. And it comes down to one word: fun.
According to Clara, after 6 years and close to 1,000 videos about her flat chest, she had grown tired of the content she was making. She wanted to step out of her comfort zone. She didn't want to remain the flat-chested influencer forever.
For so long, I built this entire platform based on one mission: flat chest confidence. I was doing it for 6 years since 2019. I made over 900 videos on the topic. My mission for the longest time was I want to create content for my 16-year-old self and for all the girls who feel insecure like I did. And I really meant that. I poured my heart and soul into helping others feel normal, beautiful, and worthy. I became the face of the flat-chested body positivity community, and for the longest time, I loved it. But over time, I got bored. I started craving change. And the thing is, I know that as long as I kept my flat chest, I knew I could keep making content about it. The videos do so well, they bring in money, and people resonate with them. But I felt like I was staying in a comfort zone. It was safe, but it wasn't growth. And I wanted a shift in my content, in my message, and in how I express myself. I believe that whether you have big boobs, small boobs, flat chest, or medium-sized boobs, it doesn't matter. They all equally beautiful. I think since the second half of 2024, I already felt tired of the body positivity content that I made. Like, girl, I want change, okay? There's nothing wrong with that.
Interestingly, this wasn't the first time Clara Dao had undergone surgery because of self-esteem issues. You see, in 2018, before the internet knew her, she had work done on her jaw. She had an underbite that, according to her, made her less confident.
I have talked a lot about having an underbite. I went through a whole 4 years process to get my underbite fixed. I had braces, I had a double jaw surgery, which was really brutal and intensive. So it was definitely a long process for me to get to where I am today. And so I think before I didn't have the confidence that I have now because of the underbite. It was my biggest insecurity.
In the end, her audience felt betrayed. To them, her 6 years of emotional investment in their insecurities had been a content strategy, not a conviction. When the face of having small boobs gets a boob job, it's definitely because she used being small for clout. I wouldn't be surprised if she did the whole small boobs positivity thing just to grow her following and get that bag. Once she got the bag and a big following, she did what she wanted. Boob job. Some critics went further. They argued that Clara was never truly secure about her flat chest, that much of her content came across as overcompensation, and that the surgery wasn't random. It was the result of a deeper insecurity she hadn't fully resolved.
At this point, I don't really care if you're getting plastic surgery. What I do care about is you pretending that the fact that you got plastic surgery didn't just stem from the fact that you were insecure about something that society told you should be insecure about.
But Clara really didn't care about the backlash and even decided to move on.
Will you stop making body positivity content? For now, yes, I have stopped making body positivity content. I don't want to be called a body positivity creator anymore. It was me in the past. I love that version of me. I'm on to the next thing. So for now, I will stop making body positivity content.
But life came at her fast because she would also experience betrayal in her private life. In October 2023, Clara began dating a Filipino content creator named Javi Lorenzana, also known online as Javizana, and almost instantly, the two became inseparable. Over the next 2 years, the relationship became a central part of her content. They launched a couple's YouTube channel that together built a shared audience and spent much of that time living together in Canada, documenting their life as it unfolded. But according to her audience, something about Clara's new boyfriend felt off. That uneasy feeling didn't remain speculation for very long. A woman claiming to be Javi's ex surfaced online, posting a series of allegations on a Chinese social media platform. According to her, Javi had a reputation for cheating, lying, and theft. She even claimed that Javi may have cheated on her with Clara. These allegations quickly spread and added another layer of doubt around the relationship. And as things turned out, the relationship didn't last. On June 11, 2025, Clara announced that she and Javi had broken up, and the irony wasn't lost on anyone. The way it ended mirrored, in a strange way, how many felt she had let her own audience down.
We broke up. It happened really fast when I was in Manila. It happened very suddenly. I feel like it's some kind of universe intervention, because I legit did not see it coming.
In the video, she's visibly shaken, tearful, trying to process something that clearly blindsided her. She describes the relationship as perfect in every sense, the kind of connection she fully believed would last.
The relationship, honestly, I really thought that would be the person that I end up with. I honestly thought that he was the one I wanted in a partner, and I thought that we would be happily forever after,
A month ago, I thought everything is perfect, and what we had was a perfect relationship in every sense, and I felt so loved, understood, and respected throughout my relationship. Thought we were aligned on what we want for the future, our values and everything, but it seemed like we don't, and
it wasn't just words. She had extended her lease in Da Nang and even given up her place in Toronto and paid to have her belongings shipped across the world, all on a future that she thought was certain.
Conflict started when we were in Vietnam, and he was living with me here in Vietnam. The idea of moving to Vietnam was a joint idea. We both wanted to live in Asia by the beach, and so Da Nang just stood out as like a fantastic option. Javi was honestly even more excited to move to Asia. He was like, he wants to move ASAP. He was so hyped up about moving. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Like, we can make it. And we moved here. He joined me. I moved here. So I packed everything. I spent 5 days, and I hired an international movers to move those boxes from Toronto to Da Nang.
But during a trip to the Philippines for a festival he was working on, something shifted. Javi wanted to stay there, permanently. She still saw their future together, so she agreed to move to the Philippines despite already moving everything from Canada to Vietnam.
In mid-May, he came back to the Philippines a second time. He had a festival that he was working on. On a call, he suddenly told me that he didn't want to live in Da Nang anymore. He wanted to stay in the Philippines forever. I'm more than willing to also try to live in the Philippines with him because I really love him and I want to make us work. And we had a lot of discussion about that. In the end, I told him that I'm willing willing to make the Philippines work, like even with all the logistics already in place, right? Like the lease and the move, like.
However, during Clara's stay in the Philippines, she said she felt unloved and unprioritized.
There's a few things that just made me feel like I wasn't prioritized and I wasn't loved enough during a time that I feel like I deserve more.
Even more unsettling was Javi's announcement video. While Clara appeared visibly distraught, he came across almost upbeat, even pleased, and viewers picked up on that contrast almost immediately. There's an uncomfortable similarity in what happened. Clara felt blindsided by someone she trusted, someone she built her life around, only to realize the future she believed in wasn't real. But at the same time, her audience went through something eerily similar. They trusted her message, believed in her authenticity, built their own confidence around what she stood for, only to watch her pivot without warning. And you'd think that Clara understood why her fans turned on her. She didn't. Because what she did next seems like the final straw and might actually be the end of her career. You see, when Clara was still building her audience, she was asked a question many female creators are often asked.
My second most asked question is, will I open an OnlyFans? Do I have an OnlyFans? When will I open an OnlyFans?
Clara admits that this was one of her most frequently asked questions at the time, and back then her answer was exactly what her audience wanted to hear. She made it clear that she would not sell her body on the internet for money, not then and not in the future.
And the answer to all of them is never. I don't plan on opening an OnlyFans anytime in the future, and I like to keep it that way.
Clara was very firm about it. She told her audience she would never join platforms known for adult content, and she made it clear that she would never post nude photos of herself online.
My next question is, will you someday post a nude picture? No, I don't think I will ever post a nude picture.
But on March 17th, Clara Dao posted a TikTok with a simple, deliberate caption. Mood because 15 days until the internet loses it again. If you do the math, 15 days from March 17th landed on April 1st. Which meant, once again, the internet assumed she was trolling. However, she promised everyone that something big was coming. In fact, she doubled down, creating more videos with a countdown to April 1st. However, she didn't wait for the D-Day because she hopped on her Patreon to announce that she would be joining OnlyFans. Even before publicly posting a link to her new account, she had already gained numerous subscribers and jumped to the top 1.6% of creators worldwide. To put that into perspective, being in the top 1.6% means you're looking at close to $50,000 annually. But was she really doing it for money? What a lot of people pointed out was that Clara didn't come from nothing. By her own account, her family in Vietnam was well off, even owning an 11,000 square foot home. So the idea that this was purely financial didn't fully land for everyone. According to some critics, the motivation was something else: validation.
I fully believe Clara Dao made an OnlyFans account for external validation.
And that's where the narrative really shifts, because this was someone who built her entire brand on self-love, on rejecting societal expectations, on not needing outside approval, and now she was stepping directly into a space built around it. For a lot of viewers, it felt like a complete reversal, not just a change, but a contradiction. Like somewhere along the way, the attention became the goal, and when that attention started to fade, she made a move big enough to pull it all back. You see, this wasn't the only time she used plastic surgery for views. In a now deleted video, she revealed that she had gotten a BBL. Predictably, she received a lot of backlash, but the attention was on her again, and she didn't let it go to waste. She leaned into the controversy, stretched it out, and kept the conversation going for as long as it would last.
I was just kidding! Come on! Come on! You guys know I was just kidding, right?
Well, on April 1st, she posted a link to her new account, and then came her explanation video. According to her, it wasn't about the money. She just wanted to rebel, to do things that society shames women for doing. She simply wanted to go against the grain.
A lot of people ask me, Clara, why did you start an OF? I thought you're rich and you come from a rich family. You don't need the money. Yes, that's true. I come from a family that probably don't have to work and I'll be fine for the rest of my life. And I already made a name for myself doing social media for 7 years, live very comfortably, have a really good life. I am just rebellious. There's something inside of me, in my blood,
I can't change it. Something inside me just wants to go against every social norm and what people expect of me, what I'm not supposed to do. I want to do that. And it's like, what's next, Clara? What's the next thing that you can do to challenge the norm? Because that's what I love doing. And I realized that, you know what, I haven't tried being a boob. I haven't tried being an internet thought. And that is so looked down upon, that is so stigmatized. That's definitely a taboo. People don't like when girls do that. Sounds fun. And so that's why I did OF, for fun.
Her fans couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that they had once looked up to her. Others wondered what kind of logic she was using, because some things are frowned upon because they are genuinely harmful. It seems she wanted to turn joining the adult content industry as something inspiring and empowering for women. To many of her fans, that was the final, irrefutable proof that the woman who had told them for years that their bodies were enough, that they didn't need to change, that beauty wasn't about the male gaze, had now fully commodified her surgically altered body for that exact audience. It wasn't just that she had gotten the surgery. It wasn't that she left the body positivity content behind. It was the full arc of her evolution, flat-chested confident creator to surgery as fun to OnlyFans. It felt like, when you look at it all together, like a long con. Like she had spent 6 years building an audience of insecure women who felt seen by her authenticity, monetized that trust into a massive platform, then used that platform as revenue to change herself into someone those same women could never be, and then began charging them to look at it. But in hindsight, the signs were already there, and her fans should have seen it coming. I mean, this was the kind of content she had been posting on her Patreon long before the surgery. The direction was already set, just not fully visible to everyone yet. And at a certain point, it stopped becoming a question of if and became a question of when. But Clara doesn't seem to care anymore, at least not in the way that she used to. By now, she's already accepted that her reputation isn't what it was. The old audience, the one that built her up, the one that believed in her message, it isn't coming back. And it feels like she knows that. So instead of trying to win them back, she's moved on, looking for a new audience, a different kind of attention. And here's the thing, none of this, on its own, is inherently wrong. Getting surgery isn't wrong. Wanting to change your body isn't wrong. Even starting an OnlyFans isn't wrong. People make those choices every day for their own reasons, but that's not what people are reacting to. You don't need to change to "I changed everything." From rejecting validation to actively chasing it. And more than anything, the feeling that the same audience she once uplifted was used to build a public platform that ultimately left them behind. That's why this hit as hard as it did. Because this was more than a rebrand. It felt like a betrayal.